Hello everybody, this is Kimberly and welcome to my Nook. I am here today to show you a flip through of my recent tall and skinny journal. On Instagram, I got a lot of help from many of you about what to do with my cover. And this layout of this lace that was on an angle is what ended up winning. There was no prize. People were nice enough to comment. And I was leaning in that direction myself. So I am excited to show this to you now that it's complete. I do want to say something about my experience with putting this lace on. I chose to use art glitter glue, which I've never had problems with before. And for some reason, this time, in the darker areas especially, but also in other areas, the color, it seemed to me, either came up to the lace where it was stuck down, or the lace being so delicate. Let me see if we can get that really clear. See how delicate that is? So I put the glue under each of these solid areas and also along this here and all the way down and on the back as well. And then I took wax paper and put it on top and I patted it all down really, really well. And then I left it overnight. I had it open from the middle and I had this space up. And I left it overnight. And honestly, I thought it was fine. And when I went to start to wrap it up to film it, it caused me to get closer, and I saw that there were dark spots up and down the lace on both sides. And the more I looked, the more I saw. And I posted a comment to Instagram and asked if anybody had any suggestions, and I had thought about maybe adding a fabric vine to draw the eye away, but the little spots would still show. And I also thought, well, you know what, it looks aged, so maybe it's not so terrible on a junk journal. And people were liking my comment, but I don't think they were actually reading what happened. And they were just liking the picture, so they really weren't seeing the dots either. They were very tiny, but it was like where I pressed it down, the glue spread, and then that area that remained picked up the color that was behind it. So I thought about it a little bit, and then it occurred to me that maybe I could use a charcoal pencil, a white charcoal pencil, since it's a creamy colored lace, and I just started going over the areas that were darkened, and it seemed to work. And put just enough white on there to kind of block the dark area from showing on top, and I rubbed it in, the charcoal, and it's been on now for a few hours and it still looks really good. So I think that's the answer. I took the post down, and I did that because I did not want to have any misperception that I was ridiculing art glitter glue or blaming or anything like that, because honestly I don't know for certain. I can't ever really know for certain what happened. Maybe it was just such light lace that when I laid it down, it just picked up the dark. Maybe it didn't pick up the paint. I don't know. All I know is it was in a lot of places that I wouldn't consider dark, and still it seemed to dry with color on it, and you could see the dot. And I normally never squish stuff down. I usually just put the dots on and lay the stuff on top. And so perhaps that contributed as well. So, and then also, as some of you know, I have a new printer, it is kind of a top of the line of HP. So it's hard for me to, come to grips with the fact that their ink might be such that it would lead to something like this. But, it's another variable. And so I don't want to jump to any conclusions. So I'm going to say it's owner error. And I took it down because I did not want to scare people or have them start to believe things or say that I said something that I didn't say. And it's just a thin, line to walk before rumors start, and that's not how I like to live my life. So I took it down. So those of you wondering what the heck, that's what happened to it. And I knew I was going to be recording this and explaining it to you, so hopefully this satisfies you. All right, so enough of the housekeeping. Let's get to the fun stuff. Solution is found, problem is solved as far as I'm concerned. So in my monitor, this doesn't look nearly as stunningly gorgeous as it does in person. This is a golden orange color. It's bright, and you can see it's satin in this picture here. And this is from Ruby and Pearl, which reminds me, I want to tell you whom the papers are from because I don't want to be saying it with each and every paper. All of the fonts pretty much are from Ruby and Pearl's French Stamps kit. I can't recommend it enough. It's simply fabulous. It prints out beautifully, gorgeous tone. I think she probably did some photoshopping, or she bought some really elegant letters that didn't have anything wrong with them because they're just a beautiful tone. So I use those extensively, and I also use some letters from Roxy Creations. I think it was Kit 4 of her letters, and it's gorgeous too. I also used Vintage Scraps Crafts. A lot of the pages and photos are from them, and other photos are from Ruby and Pearl. And I used Chapter 1 papers and some other Roxy Creation papers, and also Ida Jane designs. So those are my main people. Those are my go-tos. I always kind of like what they put out, and that fills me up. So if I have something outstanding that I forgot on that list, I'll point it out. But otherwise, I think we're on the same page. Okay, great. So obviously, Sari Silk. This is a bit tricky because I have a tab pretty much in the middle of the entire journal. And I really would have probably put this right where that is, but couldn't do that. So might be a little bit lower on the page. But I tried different colors, and I felt like this color, Sorry, was really quite nice. Turned out so chunky because I kept going back and putting in more detail. So really, it doesn't close very well. And this is after having things stacked on it for a while, on a couple nights. So there you go. So anyway, let's get started. So this is the inside, of course. I think you can all see it okay. I did a 3-hole stitch, as you can see, and this back is loose. This is a recent craft with me that Heather did on her YouTube station, where you cut out the shape on your own and you glue together an inside paper and the outside paper, and then use washi tape on the sides. So I made a few, and this one I thought was a nice backing. Otherwise the paper is just kind of thin there. So I like the color that it had with that. So I'm going to set this on the side because it is coming out. Yeah, so this is a Tim Holtz card that I backed with similar paper as to this. And this is, paper cameos in here too, because that's paper cameo. And this is the Rachel paper that I had mentioned from her letters. Yeah, this is my attempt at the texture. I'm still really getting the hang of it all. I feel like you have to have a pretty sturdy paper in order to put that on, even though it's a Tim Holtz texture paste. So I'm guessing it's probably just the right consistency. I do find on book pages and other papers it wrinkles up the paper around it, and personally I don't like that look. So this is a piece of digital, and then I backed it with a piece of cardboard and then another paper on the back. And a lot of these areas I've actually glued on additional papers, like this is glued on, this is glued on. So what might look like it's the paper that I printed, it's really not. I do a lot of fussy cutting and changing up a digital because, you know, we tend to kind of buy the same digitals and I like to have them look a little bit different. Alright, this is, I think, a Rachel paper. Yeah, so this is a flip. And this is a piece of that lace I love. This is a piece of lace that I put on top of one of Chapter 1's paper's newest kits. Oh, this is the embroidery one that they came out with recently, and that's a Sunbonnet Sue, which is a sweet embroidery and quilting pattern. I just love the fanciness of the fonts. I could not cover the page at all and just have the fonts and I'd be happy, but I know it's we're supposed to decorate more than that, so I make myself do it, and I do think that looks good. I like it, and I like the texture of it as well. And these hats are just great. It's an old kit from Heather. I stamped thankful, grateful, blessed a few places in here because I do say that and feel that way every day. And this I turned around and put it on here, and I just think it adds a nice element to it all. Let's see if I can get this closer. Yeah, the trouble is it's such a big piece it ends up cutting part of it off. That's the problem. So hopefully you can get a good feel here. It's a piece of fabric I printed from Chapter 1 papers. It's a very thin, transparent, very fine cotton. So you can see the writing of the page through it. I like that about it. I made this belly band. Oh, this is Sampool. And I wonder if you can see this lace on here. I love this lace. I think this came in one of my purchases from French sellers. It's very textured, very nubby. I just love it. Nubby, nubby, nubby. And then I covered this tab. On the other side is the design. This is just a blank tab and just kind of stuck out a lot. So I put this little bit of lace. And I just love how it formed that U around it. It's so pretty. And the curve goes with that curve. That was happen chance, though. I really can't take too much credit for that. And this is a piece of parchment, 2-dye parchment paper. And flower I cut out. I love the nubby and then the really fine. I think that's a wonderful juxtaposition. This is more of the Chapter 1 Petite Fleur, and this is Lisa and Olive. Yeah, this is just a couple of things that I put here, but this is such a pretty paper. This is more paper that I printed from Chapter 1. Loved how these burgundies went together. This was a card, and I cut the center out of a piece of ephemera so that it looked like it was framed. This is a piece of fabric. It just seemed like this was very, very beige, very, very neutral, and just needed a slight pick-me-up. And although this is maybe brighter than I would have chosen, I think it did the job. I tea-dyed this doily. course, my cameo from the paper cameo because I just can't get enough. I love it. And this is a piece of scrapbook paper from Stamperia. You know that kit, it's super old. It's been around forever, but they still sell it. I have no idea what it's called, but you can find it easy enough if you go to Stamperia and look for corsets. It's basically what it is, but it really went well here. The pearls, just the whole, you know, highly old feminine look. This was a square that I cut out and shaped a little bit and glued onto an oval on top of tea paper that I purchased that has that crochet design on it. I like all the see-through on here. See-through lace, see-through here, see-through there. I like that feel. Feels less crowded to me when there's a lot of see-through on a page. Oops, let's see what's going on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. So a couple journal cards. Pretty little bow. Again, beautiful font. I like how this lace sticks out over here. This is the other side of that. And coffee dyed, tea dyed paper. Thought these letters kind of brought that peach color down. I coffee dyed this wide eyelet. I like how it looks. Adds to the fairly neutral page. This background gets brighter because this is more like it. This is from my own personal collection. Beautiful handwriting. I love how petite it is. I bought tons of these papers and they're not big and they were loose. I went through a stack and picked out all the very oldest. I know there were 1700s in there and 1800s. I'm not sure it went any older. It was a happy day. This is 1887, it looks like. Look at how they did those 8s. I've never seen an 8 done like that, where they flipped their 8 up over the top of the curve and over to the right. That is unusual. Oh, fin. So it was finished in 1877. Well, that's interesting. It's all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. I have no idea what it's about. But it is, oh, so pretty. Tea dyed some lace here. And I made this digital into a fold over because I didn't want to cut it off. This is Ida Jane Designs. So beautiful. I just love it. It looked like a wedding dress to me. So I left these long and I actually tied on a key and a heart with a, keyhole in the middle of it. And I hung it down and honestly it just did not go with the cover. And then I left it short inside and it just kind of affected the paper. So I just ended up cutting it off. But what a center. I just think it's beautiful. And I love this backside that I chose. Star blouse. Crochet or net. Crochet, I think. And then this is a flip. More of this lace on here. And more of the paper from my collection. And this is also a flip. A little pocket. And sort of yellow and yellow green. Just love this dress, the looseness of it. It's so pretty. I made this from chapter 1. It has old lace from my collection. There's a rose here, and then there's a rose in here. This is glued down so you can't see, but I laid a rose on a rose, and then put a couple of writing papers inside here. I rolled the top down over the front and then put that sign up there. This is the back of the doily. This fan I really like. This girl, I just feel like she's sad and possibly is getting a headache. So I don't like to use the picture very often, but her beautiful hairdo and the fan, I don't know, it just kind of went together in my mind. I love this paper. Oh my gosh, I just love it so much. I like how this doily sticks out and these laces. My new printer is very creamy in its coloring, and I couldn't be happier about that. My other printer was harsh or yellow, and this is just, I mean, you know, I think it's the way it's supposed to be, but if you had to say, I would say it's leaning towards the creamy as opposed to leaning towards the gray, for example, which I don't like. So this is more of that paper, and I just thought this forest scene was so beautiful. Love forests. And more can stick under here if I wanted to do that. But these were so pretty, and they added some color to the spread, and also the shape here was similar to that shape. You know, these trees are tall and skinny, the picture's tall and skinny, her body's tall and skinny. It's a little much. So these help soften it, I felt. And then this is a really old book page. Came in a packet from somebody. Really, really old. Had words I didn't really want to have on there, so I stuck that on there. And then I stuck one over here to kind of share the color. I think these are Sampool. And then I backed this with parchment paper, sort of similar to, you know, the style that's going around. That is so pretty, and I feel was started by Heather. And this is a stamp on top of some of that old paper. Again, covering words I didn't really want to see. And then I put parchment paper underneath it to cover a picture of a flower that I didn't think really went very well. It was the wrong era. This is older, and I don't know. And I can tell there's a big difference in the era of when the picture was made because of the style and the coloring. It bothers me. So I'll often cover something up just to put something more in keeping with what I consider to be the best picture out of the bunch. You know, I think it's interesting that this one woman is looking over here and these other people are looking over there. Like, she's my kind of person. She's an independent thinker, and I don't know what she's looking at, but I don't think she's really looking. Given her posture, I think she's thinking. Or maybe preventing herself from saying something about what they're all enthralled with. Don't know, but it's turn of the century, that's for sure. Late 1800s, early 1900s. This woman has a tie on, so she's probably a suffragette type, which I would relate to. I love it. I think it's a great picture. And then I collaged this. This is left over from where I made the pocket on the other page, and I just didn't want to cut it off because it's so pretty. So I ended up finding colors that would bring some of this out. And that's it. Nothing goes in there. It is just that way. And then this side backed with book page. It's a long sheet that just kind of, needed something to break it up. So this is not a belly band per se, although there's room here to put something in. But I really like this part of the paper very much, as this I also like. So for now, until I find something better, I'll let this be what breaks it up and not put anything in there. Over this to kind of, I don't know, just change it up so it wasn't just the regular paper, although I liked the regular paper. I got a vellum scrapbook paper. I mean, it's, you buy the individual sheets at Michael's, and it's got the white printed on it. So I just cut it, and it just sort of blended it. This I cut out of something. I have no idea what, but it has a crocheted design on it, and I really like it. So it kind of stood out because these were a different color. So I gave it sort of an overall similar look, and this made the Paris map stand out, which I love, and this woman who's so pretty, and her hair is long, and the scenery, it's, cool shot. And these are two short papers, so mostly they're just decoration. There is space in there to put something, but the lace is kind of what I decided to put in there. I like how that looks very much. And this, there was nothing here, it just continued, and I just felt it just stood out sort of like a sore thumb, although the color was intended to pick that up. But I put this label on here, and maybe eventually I'll find something to go in the middle that doesn't make it the focal point, because I really just kind of wanted the eye to go around. So this lace is different than that lace, but the coloring is very similar. And then there's lace up here. Roses and roses and roses. So, it's fun. It took me a while to get to it, but I enjoyed it. And this is brightly colored. I didn't like that. It's like a real photograph, and these are illustrations. So I stuck this in here to get the color and cover up the real photograph. I love this, although it looks almost like it's upside down, but probably that's just like a macrame hanger or something. And again, wanted to bring the blue, so put that label. Swans from the beginning, they're so pretty. And the women out in the field getting their flowers. Their hats, look at how dressed up they are to be picking flowers. I mean, they just look like they're in there, like attending a wedding. Beautiful, beautiful. More font, more of the cute hat paper from an older kit by Heather. And then this is the, I think, last page. I backed this, and I love this page, but you can remove this and write on the back, and I love how these go together. And then I didn't do anything here. I played around with a lot of things, fabrics and all kinds of things, but at the moment there was really nothing that didn't just look like I glued something on there. It didn't look like it was part of the scene. And so that's why I think this is the answer to my dilemma. And it has, this envelope has a yellow, creamy cast to it. And so does this. I mean, officially I think it's beige, but the paper has yellow in it. And so I felt like this just really looked pretty together. Also, in addition to covering up any dark spots on here, I also did a very light dusting of Distress ink on the white and yellow flowers to tap down the white of this glorious design that I love. I love how everything is curved. I made this envelope before I, put this lace on or even thought about this journal for it. And I just think it works great here, and I really like the envelope. So there you go. And that is the flip through on this beauty. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed making it very much. It was really a time-consuming one for me, but I just love it. So I don't have anything to say but good things. So I hope you enjoy making your tall and skinnies. I think they're challenging. I've seen some fabulous ones out there. You guys seem to not even recognize that they're tall and skinny. You just seem to be thinking much broader than me. I'm really feeling constrained by the size and thinness of it all. And so I envy the ones that I've seen that are just chocked full of all kinds of shapes and sizes and everything. I don't know how you do it. But I will continue to learn and grow. That's what it's about for me here. And I love all of you for sharing your work and your house in order to help me in my process. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great day. Bye-bye.